All right, gang. Welcome. Good evening. It's been a interesting day. Uh, as you see scrolling on the screen, haven't had time to really look much at the storm. So we're going to kind of discover this thing together. Um, I do know, we had the crazy uh, eye adjustments that started last night and kind of throughout today as the storm rapidly intensified. Um, which made for tracking a nightmare. But overall, it's been somewhat interesting. So, first, let's just kind of see what's out there. I have National Weather Service page up somewhere. Here it is. Um, a lot of friends out there. Um, Nothing else to really concern ourselves with. I'll go look at the 5 day. Um, you see some things here 20% chance in 5 days. I'm not even discussing, not even worrying about it. Um, a lot of these look to be uh, probably storms that will not track here, um, but it's kind of crowded out there, so it's been interesting so far. What else would we expect from 2020, right? So going into the latest and greatest. This is as of the 7 p.m. It's up to 100 miles an hour, category two. Slow mover, 5 miles an hour west northwest, and it's really just chugging along. It's not doing much at all. Um, Looking at the forecast, same thing. Is going to be further off from southeast Louisiana, which is good. Not so good for my friends in the Mississippi Gulf Coast and even into parts of Florida. You guys should be watching this pretty closely right now. Um, Looks like we could see over 100-mile-an-hour winds at landfall. So this is definitely not a storm to sneeze at or take lightly. Um, Make sure you got your prep in. Get yourself ready for something if you're going to be in the path of this thing. So um, let's go back and look at what's occurred since. Um, I'll take it from last night at 10 p.m. Totally different story. Um, this was coming, close to southeast Louisiana. We'd started some tracks over, and just look at that shift that occurred throughout the day today. Uh, and most of that shift was due to a couple things. From what I've kind of gathered so far, of course, the relocation of the center was a big piece of this. The other is I kind of said it the last time I broadcasted. Hurricane hunters are constantly in there now, and they're not only sampling the storm, but they sample the area and environment around the storm, and that all gets fed into the model. So the models are really starting to pick up uh, really good on this storm and kind of what it does. Um, Taking over to the storm model guidance, latest model guidance. Let me make sure that it is latest, and it is. You can see we're getting more of a consensus here on what's going on. Previously, I mean, we had storm tracks from all the way from uh, the lake all the way through Florida state line. Seeing this getting more compact, you're going to see higher confidence in that forecast and where we should be. Being this close to landfall, I still see a lot. There is some spread, more spread than usually what we would see at landfall. So, that's why you're looking at a cone that's still pretty wide for where we are. Now, I know some questions have been, is this thing, can this thing turn west? Can it, storm can do a lot of things. Um, yes, it can take that south end of guidance. And if that does, then yeah, we're going to see some more effects here uh, than, if it takes the turn this way. So that's something we kind of want to keep an eye on. Don't, lay back and think everything is absolutely fine. But for my friends and where we are right here in the river parishes, today, we look a lot better today than what we looked like at this time yesterday. So What are the dangers with the storm? Let's look at, see if I can get some precipitation information here. It's going to be winds and rain. Of course, that's what storms do. Let me look at these storms, the amount of storms that we have at the National Hurricane Center tracking. It's crazy. Rainfall guidance. This is as of 4 o'clock. This was run at 4 or right before 4 o'clock, 3:30. This was run. And the important piece is where I have the mouse right here. Very narrow strips of rainfall stuff. So if this thing does shift a little again towards the west, a little nudge can make a big difference the way this storm is presenting itself. Guys on the east side, you're looking at 15 to 20 inches of rain. It's insane. That can be set up. You get set up under a band that decides to start training. You can see problems. You can definitely see problems. So something that you definitely want to keep an eye on there. Like I said, I hadn't been caught up too much with the storm, so I'm kind of learning what's going on as you guys are going on. Looking at winds, earliest reasonable arrival time, tropical storm force winds. I've never seen the graph look this way, but it is what it is at this point. Monday, 8 p.m. So tonight, those in that area here will start seeing those winds. And if we go at most likely, that's earliest reasonable. Good for preparations and planning. Most likely, this is what we're kind of looking at. Now, we see, hey, why is Louisiana in some of this? Again, this storm is, you could see some breezy conditions. And you got to also forecast for track guidance error. I see a comment from a friend of them that's on the diversion. They're getting some winds and rains on the diversion. I know on my way home today, just a little while ago, it was quite breezy outside. So thanks for that comment there. Feel free to comment in the post however you're watching. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And I can pull your comments. And if I have an answer, I'll give you what I can. But I can't guarantee. I'm just a poor little IT guy, not a trained meteorologist. But I give it a shot. Flash flood potential, again, important for you guys, Mississippi Gulf Coast and into Florida. That's going to be a big issue for you guys there. Let's see what they're saying on key messages. This is from the 4 o'clock. Next full update's at 10. So at 10, we'll have a new forecast track. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing kind of moving and even another little nudge east. I wouldn't expect much, though. I think this is kind of pulling in pretty good. Another question: what do we think? Could we go into Cat 3? Well, let's go and see what's going on. This is model guidance. Looking at intensity guidance, and I'll give a caveat here. Tracking guidance from National Hurricane Center from these models is better than intensity models. But looking at intensity models, we just have one. Looks like the UK model probably. Kind of peaks it into Cat 3. Models are pretty spread throughout Cat 2 to bottom of Cat 3. So I wouldn't rule it out, especially how this storm behaved today in such a favorable environment. I mean, it blew up basically enough to where we even had a special advisory from the National Hurricane Center to update the storm to its current level. So Gulf is somewhat favorable still. It's in the shallower waters of the Gulf, so it can churn up a lot of energy that it wants. Shallower waters are going to be warmer, so I wouldn't rule out a Cat 3, a low end Cat 3. I wouldn't say it's highly likely, but I wouldn't rule it out. Uh, Best rule of thumb that we've been hearing throughout this is, prepare for one level higher on the storm. So, again, looking at model guidance here, um, yeah, this thing can go. It still has a few different places it can definitely go. So, looking again at key messages from these guys. Too early to determine where Sally Center will move there. That's always been said. Um, but that relays to me still. There's still some uncertainty with that track. Like I said, I would like to see that track tightened up, being that it's this close to land. Um, and I think that they're relaying how they feel with that as well. Um, this has been a strange storm, I can tell you that. Um, so extremely dangerous, life-threatening storm surge. Yeah, we're going to go look at storm surge and see what if we can see what they're looking at there. Um, Port Fourchon, Louisiana to Oskaloosa, Walton County line, Florida Panhandle. Uh, Again, they say it here: if residents in the area should follow advice given by local officials. National Hurricane Center, your Weather Service office, your local government officials. They're tracking this. They got direct lines to National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service. They get briefed on it very frequently. I can tell you from experience. Your news media, your trained meteorologists. That's one thing I stress. Going to pages. I know you guys are on my page. I'm not a trained meteorologist, so it's kind of irony that I'm telling you, hey, don't pay attention to people who aren't trained meteorologists. But it's, I live on the wild side. But I'm basically going to regurgitate what we're getting from National Hurricane Center, because that's the information you need to watch. Hurricane conditions expected late tonight, Tuesday, within hurricane warning area. I know that's another question I heard today is, why in Southeast Louisiana river parishes, Baton Rouge and areas there, we're still in hurricane warning when, this thing took that major shift. I think a big reason is the weather services doesn't like to cancel warnings quickly. I think they're going to let it expire probably tonight for the areas that are pretty much out of that cone and a good distance from that cone is probably what's going to happen. They don't really like to cancel those that much, and I can understand where they're coming from. So let's look at storm surge levels. Interesting to see. We're going to look at what's going on in the lake. 3 to 5 feet at the lake as this water is going to be pushed in as this storm comes close. So there, looking towards the let's see, when was this put together? At 4 o'clock. So I would think they would probably update this maybe again at 10 once they have that new forecast track. 6 to 9 feet here. Ocean Springs, Dauphin Island, 4 to 7 feet, 2 to 4 feet, Alabama, Florida border, 1 to 3 feet here. So that's something to look at. If this thing intensifies, which since 4 o'clock, what was this thing at 4? At 4 o'clock, it was Category 2. So it's this may not be that far off from what they're thinking. How long this thing stays in the Gulf, let's find out. So we're looking at, this is currently where she is, Monday, 7 p.m. And so we're looking at Tuesday, 1 a.m., Tuesday, 1 p.m., Wednesday, landfall. That's a little while sitting there in the Gulf. It's going to just chug along 5 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour. That's going to be the problem. That's going to be the problem. Just onlashing of rains and winds where it's at is going to be a problem. Those that remember Isaac decided to come up and kind of just chill out here for a little while. Caused us a lot of headaches inside of emergency management. So that's something to be careful of. What will Ascension get is a question that we got going. I see. Let's find out. let's kind of dig and see what we're getting here. Deterministic winds. I mean, I don't see us getting any tropical storm force winds. You may get some gusty winds at times, but nothing sustained. And if you shift to probabilistic, this factors for any adjustments in track. So if this thing takes, the western side of this, yeah, we could have a slight percentage of some tropical storm force winds. I don't see, as long as this stays on its track, I don't see it being a problem for us in Ascension. That's, the caveat, it stays on its track. Looking at earliest reasonable, we looked at that. And so let's look at the winds, what this thing looks like here with winds. See if this thing will spin. I like this. Wind stream. Yay, broken internet. Let's see if it'll load. Because this kind of shows the wind and gives a good understanding of what's going on with it. Let me reload the page. Wind stream. And it's going to make me look like a fool. Awesome. All right. Let me try one more time getting this to load. If not, we'll go to something else. Yada. That's satellite. That looks nice. I want wind stream though. There we go. So looking at wind stream, let me see if I can drop a legend here. That will tell me, because I know the colors mean wind speed. But of course, it's not going to help me out. That's what we're looking at now. This is static, so I can't advance it across the forecast track. I don't have the money for that kind of software. But yeah, as we said it, at the lake in Marlboro, and we're seeing that northerly wind start to come down. So that's going to start driving water down out of the lake to our areas. St. John Parish, keep an eye on it. St. Charles Parish, I know they even issued, St. John and St. Charles issued some mandatory evacuation for some areas. And that's the reason why for that. As this gets closer, that wind is going to get stronger and push water down this way. Further away we are from it, the better off we're going to be. But that's what we're going to have to be concerned with, is that. So let's see. I think they have let me take some of this art off, because they do have here potential flood information. Now let's zoom in. So this is all run by models and all of that fun stuff. Where is my legend? Potential star flooding legend down here, 1 to 3 feet blue. Let me take off radar, because that is annoying me. Check. Storm surge warning. I have warning and watches turned on. Let's turn off a lot of that so we don't get confused. All right. So looking at, this is exactly, the wind's going to come in, kind of bring some of this water out. I still have something turned on and I don't want on, and I can't figure out what it is. Because I don't think that would be, well, that's with tide. Yeah, something's still turned on. Let's reset. Don't you love technology? It's a great thing. Let's refresh. So let's check up on Sally. And I want to pull potential tidal floodings. That's better. I didn't want that red there because that was wrong. All right, so let me focus on my guys and gang here. You can see we're looking at minimal impact here. High tides. So I'm not seeing anything that's really causing concern. out here, if we go without the tide, uh, levels 1 to 3 feet in areas. Some areas around Ascension, you see a little bit increase. I don't think that's anything we can't handle at Ascension. I know our DPW crews are doing what they got to do. You see some areas in St. James, but like we said, here in St. John Parish, again, 1 to 3 feet. St. Charles Parish, kind of similar things. Let's kind of zoom over for friends in the Gulf Coast. You guys are jumping up there. You're going greater than 3 feet. Outside of levee protection area in New Orleans, 3 to 6 feet. So that's why you've had that evacuation called. Looking at landfall, this thing is going, pretty much into Mobile Bay. So these guys are going to see that elevations higher than 6 feet in places. My friends down here in Pensacola, as long as that storm stays on that track, 1 to 3 feet elevated areas, that's something we've got to watch. The other thing, again, flash flooding. If this thing sets up and you get stuck under a van somewhere, you could see some flash flooding. So what else I have for you? Don't have too much else. I think I've kind of covered the basics. Listen to your official sources. I'm waiting for the 10 o'clock to see if there's going to be any change. This is just advisory. Let's see if I can go pull is this the discussion from 4? It absolutely is. I do like to read the National Hurricane Center discussion that they post when they post the forecast. Some of it is technical jargon you got to kind of decipher, but there's a lot of plain English stuff here that can kind of give you some information. They go a little deeper into why they think what's going to happen. They also kind of will relay a lot about if they are certain or uncertain, how confident they are in their forecast. So this, especially working emergency management, you can see all those charts and graphs and everything else and go, okay, hey, this is what's going on. Reading this discussion kind of helps us understand, okay, this is what's on the graph, but it's a low certainty. So we need to look at more options. What else could happen? Look at those models. Okay, so it's spread out, determine things. Versus if we see them relaying high level of certainty, that kind of helps us decide what we want to do, how we want to do it, what our impacts could be, and gives us good timing to do what we need to do. So, I'm spotting here, given the uncertainty and timing of location northward and lack of well-defined steering currents, users are not reminded to focus on the exact forecast or specific timing and location of landfall. Always a good thing to be considerate of. I think the biggest question that I've kind of gathered all today is, when is this turn going to happen? That's going to be the biggest factor, I think, in who gets what, when, where, and how. If it starts to turn sooner, absolutely fantastic. For us in Southeast Louisiana, not so fantastic for our friends in Florida. If it doesn't turn as soon, then we get more impacts. So that's going to be the thing that if I'm watching this, what's going to happen? When is this turn happening? Once I start seeing that turn, then I start to feel better. It's going to turn. Matter of when is the big question. When is this thing going to turn? So looking at this, after a rapid spin up of Inner that it blew up today, which was pretty amazing to have that come across from little nothing to a matter of a cat 2 in a snap of a finger. Now that Sally has developed an inner core, so we know this storm is maturing. Favorable atmospheric and ocean conditions, low wind shear, warm water allow for additional strengthening tonight while the system moves over north central Gulf of Mexico. Sally could approach major hurricane strength. Again, question, can this be a Cat 3? Seeing this, I wouldn't rule it out. I would, it's a Cat 2 predicted landfall. I'm planning for, if I'm doing prep and I'm in that area, I'm prepping for a Cat 3. Here's what I'm doing. Tuesday. All right. So low wind shear. Sally could approach major hurricane strength on Tuesday. Global models are predicting increasing southwesterly flow, increase in shear, potential for land interaction, upwelling over shallower Gulf shelf waters, would slow intensification. That's a plus. So as this thing gets closer to land, it will, they're looking to see a increase in shear. I wouldn't think it's a lot, but it's going to kind of help tamper things a bit. And of course, once it makes landfall, that starts to weaken the system. So here's stuff that I kind of gather from this. National Hurricane Center intensity forecast is, again, near the upper end of guidance envelope and in best agreement with two different models, consensus models. So the intensity in the forecast is at the higher end of what the model guidance is showing. So that's interesting to know. They're trending higher. Could be lower. But we just we won't know until we know, is the thing. Sally did not move much to earlier today. Center reform took place. Appears a slow west-northwestward to northwestern motion has resumed. Here they're going to talk about steering, weak ridging, expected to steer Sally generally west-northwest through early Tuesday. After that time is when they're expecting it to weaken, and we should start to see that turn. So that's going to be key. Midday Tuesday, is this thing going to turn? So let's go HURRYVAC. We're looking at starting to turn midday Tuesday, 1 p.m. How about that? Yada, yada, yada. Specific time and location of the turn will be critical as to eventual location and timing of landfall along the north central Gulf Coast. We've said that already. Two of the models show more northwestern motion after the turn. So they kind of go into the model guidance here. National Hurricane Center track has been adjusted eastward. This was at 4 o'clock when they made another nudge eastward. They have to do adjustment of warnings. The new track most closely follows GFS model and its ensembles, but lies to the west of the consensus. So again, that's going to tell me it's following GFS, one of the models, and its ensemble mean, which is they run the GFS and then other models kind of run with the data that the GFS provides. But lies to the west. So the forecast track here is on the western side of the model spread, which we kind of saw that when we looked at the models. Let's kind of go take a look here. It's a tad to the west. If we look at the black line here is the official forecast, or FCI, that's the official forecast. And yeah, it is on the western side. We got a lot more here there. So interesting to note. Could we see another bump at 10 o'clock to the east? I would say it could happen. I wouldn't see major jumps, but I do think that we would have a little bit of a jump. So that's why I like to go in and read this discussion. Some of this stuff is, overheads, talking about troughs and different things like that, yada, yada, yada. But I can understand when they say intensity forecast is on the upper end. So they're at the higher end of the intensity forecast. I can also see, again, here, lies to the west. So their guidance, the forecast is actually west. That kind of helps me digest what's going on with this storm. So not much else to really bring here. I'm going to probably stick around, stay up for the 10 o'clock and see what's going on. One other thing I wanted to kind of look at was the weather locally, because I know we had an alert here for St. James Ascension for tropical moisture coming in. So let's kind of take a look at that real quick. So you can see, we're starting to see some effects I guess you can kind of say not really much bands, but this is probably part of that storm coming through. Nothing real much, just some good rain to kind of wet the ground and kind of let things go there. Let's go ahead and kind of zoom in. Sorry about that. The storm, we can see it here. This is radar looking at as close to the ground as it can. So this is not really looking higher up. One slice of life. So this may, if this storm is not stacked on top of itself, what you see as the center here may not actually be the actual center of the storm. So don't get kind of fooled by that, but it's just good to kind of look and see what's going on here. Here's some buoys in the Gulf, and 74, 80 mile an hour winds from some of these guys. Let me stop this from spinning so I can see what's the latest. Wind northeast at 78 miles an hour sustained, looking at 87 mile an hour gusts from that platform, 44, 59 miles an hour, 47, 55 miles an hour. So, there's some winds out there, some winds to kind of look forward to. Another thing I hadn't mentioned, but it is kind of a standard fare with storms making landfall. Again, we saw it with Laura. You're going to have these quick spin up tornadoes. Definitely be on the lookout for that. And those will spin up quick and spin down quick, probably faster, pretty close to as fast as the National Hurricane Center, not National Hurricane Center, your National Weather Service office can issue warnings out for those. So keep an eye out for those. Those can also cause headaches and problematic. Let's kind of pull up Hurricane Hunter stuff. You can see they're flying around. And again, as you see, they cross-section the storm to get data from the storm, but they're also, everywhere you see a dot is where they're pulling data, weather data, environment data. And that all gets fed into those models. And that's what helps those models get this handle on not only the storm, but the environment around it and what this storm is going to go into and what is going to help kind of move this storm and guide this storm where it's going. So the more information we get fed into those models at all these different levels in the atmosphere, the more accurate we're going to see those models tracking intensity, and we should see less jumps from these models, from these models with forecast tracks and stuff like that. So, yeah, it looked like we got a little rain here. That's interesting to see. Base velocity. Base velocity will show you winds as well. Nothing real major there. So yeah, we're gonna have probably some rain through the night, off and on. I don't think anything in the river parishes for us to really worry with. You can see we're getting some rains out here. Let me pull the mobile radar. Let's see if we get a better look at this thing. Let's turn off Hurricane Hunters. Let's download a few frames. Let's see what we look like. So friends in Pensacola, you're gonna start seeing some rain bands already. You're gonna start seeing some rain bands. So be on look out for that. Again, if something kind of sets up in an area and starts dumping rain, that's one of the dangers they've been relaying with this storm throughout is what's you get stuck on one of those, it makes for an even worse situation. So yeah, let's let this thing finish pulling in some frames. You can see kind of what's up. So yeah, you're gonna start seeing some stuff on the show, and so again, the motion of the storm is gonna be slow. So you can see this rain is not moving much at all. That's where the rain dangers are going to come from. Slow moving. It's just going to kind of sit and churn and churn and churn and churn and churn. not a good thing to have to deal with. Um, let's pull from Air Force Base radar there. Get a different look at it if we can. There we go. And that gives you a different look at it again. Wow, look at all these rain. Look at the rain on this thing. Center's here. Rain is all throughout most of the Gulf right here. It's going to have a lot of rain impacts. A lot of rain impacts for with this system. So yeah, not much else I can go on. Looking through comments, don't see much else here, which is cool. Like I said, I'll kind of hang around the house, stay up for the 10 o'clock because I'm interested to see if she's gonna be nudged any bit, and I may pop in and kind of do another one of these with any updates, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm out of here. I just got in, so I'm gonna go find some munchies and take a break for a little while. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Stay safe.